So Marvel, the Fantastic Four, came out today in the UK. So I watched it in IMAX, and this is a very different movie for Marvel. Not only is it set tonally in a different time period and in a different complete universe away from the main sacred timeline and any other universes we've seen, and that is really one of the merits of this movie, is it's so different to a standard Marvel movie. If it didn't have certain aspects of the superhero action sequences, you almost wouldn't know it was a Marvel movie. It is shot so well. Aesthetically, it's very pleasing on the eyes. VFX, CGI, for 95% of the movie, very good. I had low expectations for this movie because I'm not a big Pedro Pascal fan. I don't think he can act, but I hate to say it, lads. Like I said, I will be unbiased. Pedro Pascal is a very good Reed Richards. Very good Reed Richards. And you know me, I'm not like one of these Marvel chills that go to screeners. I say what I think. A lot of people expected me to say, yeah, Pedro can't act. He sucks. I'd agree with you generally, but in this movie, Pedro Pascal was very good. Vanessa Kirby, very good as Sue Storm. She slayed. They all slayed. Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, The Thing. They all slayed. Herbie. Very good cast. Since Matt Shackman said they didn't screen test together, they generally had pretty good chemistry together. And Reed and Sue Storm are a very believable couple, which is very odd because they don't look or appear like they would be a good couple from the outside looking in. So casting was very, very good, but also very strange to the point where, based on the trailers, I really didn't think they would pull it off, but somehow they really did pull it off. So for me, this gets away from the normal Marvel movie. Yes, there is multiversal concepts because they are setting things up that we will talk about later. Latveria kept popping up for certain reasons, but I don't know if that was also supposed to be the case or if they just added it to kind of make out there's some Doomsday connection. So, very good movie. Go and watch it in IMAX. I really did like it. So what is the plot? Careful spoilers, I don't want to ruin your life. There's no point doing non-spoilers. You know what kind of channel this is. So, if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss the Marvel DC Kaiju, much diverse pop culture-based content I try to deliver on a daily basis. Could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below. Are you planning to go see this movie? Also, check us out on TikTok, wwarstu, and check us out on Twitter, wwarstu. So, as the trailer says, this movie is very simple. The Silver Surfer, Shalabar, Julia Gardner, I think that's her name. She finds planets for Galactus to devour in order to curb his hunger, and they essentially select Earth. So the Fantastic Four go up to Galactus and plead for Earth's life, with the Earth there in 828. And he's essentially like, okay, cool story, bro. I want the kid because the kid is cosmic. The kid is so freaking OP. And obviously at this point, they've ran tests. Reed's ran tests. As you know, he's one of the cleverest people in Marvel Comics. But he doesn't even know the child has powers because at this point, the child is not alive. And can I just say, Ralph's voice is absolutely freaking insane. And can I just thank Marvel and the cast and crew for not revealing Galactus' voice? It's so cool to not get a spoiler of the voice and just go into the cinema, go into theaters, as you lads over there in America call it, and hear the voice for the first time. So they want the child in exchange to keep this Earth alive and not devour it. But they're like, no, we can't have this. And there isn't really much action in this movie, to be honest, because they don't really fight Galactus. They kind of try to fight him, but they don't really do much. Johnny Storm has a fight with the Silver Surfer, sure, and there really isn't much action in this movie, but that's not really a bad part, to be honest. So they come up with a plan to transform the Earth from one side of the galaxy to another. So they're going to teleport the Earth from one side to the other. Why? Because Reed teleports an egg from one side of the room to the other. So they devise a plan to transform Earth way to another galaxy so Galactus can't get him with these transformers, right? And the Silver Surfer comes along and destroys all of them, but ironically doesn't destroy the last one. And essentially what happens is they devise a plan to pay Galactus with the baby. Get Galactus to come. Galactus does technically steal the child temporarily until he's on this point, and then they kind of swap the baby. And then Galactus comes and gets the baby from the back of the building. And then Galactus essentially gets the baby taken away from Mr. Stretch Armstrong. And the CGI is very good. And essentially what happens is Sue Storm, so OP, she uses her invincibility powers to push him through said Transformer, although he comes back through, and then Silver Surfer sacrifices her life, although she doesn't die, and she goes through this kind of, I guess you could call it a wormhole, to wherever they're transporting Galactus to, and that's pretty much the plot summed up. It's a very fast-paced movie, and there realistically isn't any negatives for me. Apart from the baby was pretty much CGI. It wasn't bad, but at some points you could tell it wasn't a real child. Now, the Flash movie did this. I don't understand why Hollywood has an issue. Just use a real baby if you can, or have better CGI, because this, honestly, I'm not glazing. You know me, I don't glaze. This has some of the best CGI I've seen in years. Definitely has some of the best CGI from Marvel in years. And I hate to say it, I think Marvel is back with quality. This was a very good quality movie, because although it wasn't really a multiversal movie, they have set things up. Like, we have Reed Richards talking about teleporting, you know, how they got rid of Galactus was they teleported him from one side of the universe to another. And you know how we see in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, we see the escalator, the Thunderbolts ship appearing in a different universe. Potentially that's how they did it. And they do kind of set up Doctor Doom, but not really. So they have all these world meetings because the whole world has to work together in order to make all these transformers before Silver Surfer comes in and destroys them. But Latvia is always missing, so that's assuming Doctor Doom. So this is why people assume that Doctor Doom is also from Earth 828, which was not destroyed. And part of the plot leak is that, well, it's not actually even plot leak. Kevin Feige did say that the Avengers will go to Fantastic Four universe. So we already knew before this movie came out that the Fantastic Four universe, Earth 828, wasn't going to be destroyed. But they are setting up Doctor Doom, that Doctor Doom's essentially from this universe as well. So they didn't show as much of Franklin Richards' powers, except for when Sue Storm died and Franklin basically touched her and brought her back to life, and we've seen her eyes turn purple. And that basically confirmed to the Fantastic Four that Galactus wasn't Captain, and that he is really a cosmic level being who could save the universe or destroy the universe. So that is probably why Doctor Doom wants the child. So the post-credit scene is how it's already been described. Sue's telling the story, asks Herbie to get him another book. She turns around, and then we see Doctor Doom with Franklin, and Franklin's touching his face. Doesn't appear scared. He takes the mask off. There is already so many over-the-top theories about this, okay? So the scars on the face. Apparently, he's going to heal the scars to the point where it's going to be the face of Tony Stark. But even if this is the case, Tony Stark wouldn't have been a thing on said universe. And even if Tony Stark is on this universe, because as we know, it's the multiverse, there's different variances of different people, but they don't necessarily look the same. They wouldn't even know what Tony Stark looked like. So I think that theory is kind of a little bit over the top and a little bit nonsensical. So there was the rumor that Franklin was going to be taken by Doctor Doom, but the post-credit scene they shown was just there. He's literally just there with the kid, and Sue's looking very worried, and she gets the superpowers out and it looks like she's about to attack him, and it cuts out. So you could hypothesize that because the Fantastic Four set is still on the Avengers Doomsday set, because that's where they shot it, that this could actually be the opening sequence of Avengers Doomsday. Now, every other day, and the source is actually Reddit, you know? It's like I always say, Reddit plot leaks are right. Reddit plot leak was right about this, was right about Superman, was right about the last 5 Marvel movies. But execution, even though everyone walking into this movie, if you've read the plot leak, it does sound like an average movie, but the execution from the way it's shot, the way it's directed, the way the actors handle it, it's pretty cool. There was no woke stuff. Johnny Storm was still flirting. He was flirting with the Silver Surfer all along. So Marvel does have it in its hands now to set up Doomsday to be freaking epic, but I can't really get behind this narrative online that the post-credit scene means so much more because Franklin's not scared of him and it's a manipulation game. Sure, we know Doom's going to manipulate. Doom is a very clever character, but the Russos said there's a reason why he's got the same face as Tony Stark, and it's going to keep coming back to that reasoning. I don't believe Franklin touching his face heals his scars, because that's the big thing about Doctor Doom, having scars on his face. And he doesn't just take his mask off for anyone, but they're not going to pay Robert Downey Jr. all this money that he doesn't really deserve, let's be honest, in my opinion. No one deserves that kind of money to not have his face out. So he's going to have his face out all the time. Otherwise, could have just hired a better actor like Cillian Murphy. So overall, this movie is freaking insane. Really good. Better than Marvel's Thunderbolts. So Marvel has had 2 good movies now in a row, in my opinion. So is Marvel back? yes, the standard is much higher than it was with Shang-Chi, much higher than it was with Eternals. So Marvel is back. It's just a case of, can they keep this ball rolling? Now, I know people were skeptical about all this. They haven't even finished the plot for Avengers Doomsday. Well, they're shooting for 8 months, so they're going to have to change things here and there. But I have full confidence in Spider-Man 4, Doomsday, and Secret Wars that Marvel can cook again, because this movie was very good. And if the Fantastic Four and Reed Richards is going to be the ideas guy behind how they save the multiverse, because Doom can manipulate Reed into thinking he needs to help him to save the multiverse because of all these incursions. There's lots they can do here. And Reed is an important character overall, especially in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Kevin Feige has told us. He says the Fantastic Four is born. And Reed, intellectual-wise, could come up with the ideas of how to defeat Doom or how to save the multiverse, how to stop these incursions. But we know the incursions won't stop because they need to get to Battleworld, don't we? So we know the incursions will take place, but it's how, by the end of Secret Wars, do they counter all this? Because we know Doom's going to get his own way, regardless of if the Avengers think they know what's going on. So go watch this movie in IMAX if you're a Marvel fan. If you're a movie fan, because personally, I think it's a good movie. As you lads know, I've been going at Pedro, the fact he can't act, pretty hard in some movies. But like I said, when I watch it, I'll be completely unbiased, which I was. And Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Elon Musk, so on and so forth, they can all act. They're all very good in this movie. Very good. In fact, I may watch this movie again. It's that good. I don't watch movies often very much twice, but maybe. So like I say, there's bits here and there of Latveria teases, but I just think they're throwaway. Just say that Doom's from this universe and so on and so forth. And because there's a Latveria seat in the World's Council, that means that Doom's from the same universe. It would make a lot of sense, because if they go to comic book stuff, now it's the same with Superman. No one really cares for comic book stuff except for comic book fans. And 90% of the audience are not comic book fans, as much as comic book fans like to believe this. So if they're just going to put connective tissue there, like Latveria had a seat at the World Council, they're from the same universe, like Reed and Doom know each other in the comics, so it would make sense. They could be old university, college friends, but who knows? So that's the ending. That's the post-credit scene. That's where they could go in Doomsday. We do have another video coming up soon, which is a huge Doomsday leak that ironically came out after the world premiere of the movie. So it might not be true, but it might be. So we're going to go over that in the next couple of days. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram, wwarstu. Check us out on Twitter, wwarstu. Check us out on TikTok, wwarstu. And I'll catch you in another video, guys, very soon. Catch ya later.